Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Chandler, the Geek Slays. Welcome back to Sports at Sunup. I got the one and only Bronco Justin here. Sasquatch is sick. We're giving him a day off, so get into this. So, the Vikings offseason has been a weird fucking time.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. It's it kind of I don't know. It's a tough one to explain because they made some, I guess, surprising cuts. I didn't think they'd cut Josh Klein. I felt like he, although might not be the best guard, he was probably one of our better offensive linemen last year. So cutting him just I mean, I think the cap hit that he would have had was only like 3.5 million. So it wasn't,
Right.
wasn't anything ridiculous. And for him literally being our second best offensive lineman, that was definitely a surprising one. I've read though that they might look to bring him back on a cheaper deal, but I mean,
I don't know how
then
much
again,
cheaper you can get.
exactly, that's the thing. I don't know how much cheaper you're going to get for a guy like that. And then on top of it, to cut him, uh, they had to eat some of his cap too.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's just more dead money. I think they're up to like 22 million in dead cap for this upcoming season. So
they also cut
yeah,
David Morgan, which his
yeah,
contract was like 2 mil. I know he's not like a huge piece, but he's a good backup to have behind Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph. Just let him chill there, you know.
no, I 100% agree. I think obviously his injury this past season kind of it definitely hurt him not being able to play. But the years prior, he was one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, and that's not me being a homer or anything. You
For sure.
can look it up stats wise. He was a great blocking tight end. I mean, if he was in the game, those seasons he was playing, you knew a run was coming more times than not
Right.
because that's what he does. He moves linebackers. He can chip down on the ends. Like he was a good player. I feel like his injury didn't do him any justice this last season. And then obviously you got Kyle Rudolph, you got Irv Smith. I feel like is going to be a breakout candidate this year for the Vikings.
For sure.
And then you got Tyler Conklin, who I feel like is a good serviceable third tight end to have. He can
Fuck, I
block. He
forgot
can
about Tyler
catch.
Conklin.
Yeah, I mean he's a good he's a good third tight end. I mean
For sure.
he's not necessarily as good blocking as David Morgan, or obviously have the catching abilities of a Irv Smith or Kyle Rudolph, but just kind of being an average guy, being able to kind of do a little bit of everything helps him out. So
I think I read somewhere that more than half of our starters going into next year are going to be different. It's like we're going
yeah,
through a rebuild without actually rebuilding.
well, and see that's the funny thing too, because I mean, and I don't put a whole lot of water in this because I don't like Colin Coward, and I know a lot of other people don't either because of his takes are kind of
Right.
out there. But he put something out there, I think today or the day before, his most talented rosters, and he had Vikings at 2.
Yep.
And so, if obviously us being fans, we're pretty tied into
Right.
uh, what goes around and what people have to say. And, we see the long list of everyone that we lost, and it's like, oh, well, you know, how can it be that talented? But then someone pointed out, well, you got the blue chip collar guys that lead the team. Like, we got really top heavy, talented team. It's
Yep.
just once you start getting down there, a little iffy. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's been an interesting off season to say the least.
For sure. Losing Linval is tough, but I think Michael Pierce at this point might be better.
100%. No, I definitely agree with that. If you look, and again, I don't put a whole lot of water into this either, but PFF, Pro
Yeah.
Football Focus, they put out their grades, and while last year he was kind of middle of the pack or whatever, the years prior he was one of the best run stop interior linemen
Yep.
in the league, and so and that's what Linval was when he came to the Vikings. He was one of those guys. So, getting a guy like Michael Pierce, the juggernaut as he likes to be called, getting someone like him to come in and do essentially what Linval did at a lesser price, and obviously younger than he is, I feel like that's going to be huge. And so I think another thing that will be huge will be who are they going to put beside him? Who will be the three technique? Who's going to be the who's going to be the three technique defensive tackle? Are they going to go and get one in the draft, or are they going to go with one of the guys they got, like Armon Watts or Jaleel Johnson? Because it's that's definitely a weak spot right now. Is the other defensive tackle? I feel like Michael Pierce locks that up pretty well, and you probably would have Shamar Steffen backing him up if he still sticks around, because he's a good run stopping defensive tackle. But yeah, that three technique's definitely going to need to be addressed this offseason, whether they can still find someone in the draft or find someone in free agency or go out and get someone in the draft.
I can't remember who it was from, but I was reading a thing where the Vikings are planning to run Hercules fucking Alpha as the three.
Yep.
And then Ifedi Odiningbo is the reason they're willing to let Everson Griffin go.
And I'm all for that. I love Ifedi. He showed out last year, played very well with limited snaps and a kind of a reserve role, and to be honest, a lot of times when he was out there, you still had Danielle Hunter out there too, getting double teamed. So a lot of you got some people saying, "Oh, I feel like he'll kind of drop off," but really, I don't think so. If anything, I feel like he could be a double digit sack guy next year, getting more snaps and primarily playing on the edge, because he did move into D tackle every now and then. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out.
I think I have some really wild ideas just with the cap room we've created. Like I just because like guys like Jadeveon Clowney aren't signed yet, right?
Mm-hmm. That'd
And
be huge.
we don't have the cap room to here's a 4-year $100 million deal. We don't have that.
No.
But the reason we're letting Everson go is because he wanted 15 mil a year, and we're not willing to pay that to a 32-year-old guy.
Yeah, and to be honest, it looks like a lot of other teams aren't either, because they're kind of scared away with his mental scare.
Yeah.
2 seasons ago when he kind of just went off the rails. So a lot of other teams are kind of proceeding with caution now too. And yeah, 15 million for a guy that's been productive, but he is 31, 32 now. So
right.
he's getting a little older now. So
that's why I love the idea that if Jadeveon Clowney can't find his big deal, a prove-it year at 15 mil for 1 year in Minnesota, where he's not going to be double-teamed. They're going to double-team Danielle Hunter. Like, you have to double-team Danielle. He could show out. I just don't know if he'd take that deal, but I'd love to see it.
Oh, I 100% would. I 100% would. I just, honestly, I don't know if, and obviously the Vikings play in a dome, so it's not so much, they'd have to deal with the outside in the winter and cold, but still, I mean, you got 6 division games that you play in, 4, I should say, because Detroit has a roof over their heads too. But playing, I say that, well, obviously they have a home game, so I kind of screwed up. But playing, you still have a handful of games playing against teams that are in cold environments. So I don't know if he's really about that or not. But
he played in Seattle last year, so
Well, Seattle's a little mild, a lot more mild than it is in Minnesota. As
That's
someone
fair.
as
Yeah.
someone that lives right next door in South Dakota, I can tell you the winters can
Oh,
get
for
pretty
sure.
brutal. So,
For
and
sure.
I'm sure for the same as you where
Oh, for
you're
sure.
at as well. So,
For
but
sure.
yeah, no, you know what, I honestly would love that. It's just it comes down to the cap. I don't know if they can make it work because if honestly at this point they probably would have to let someone else go or
Cap wise, we have the room, but I think
you
there are
have
more
but
pressing holes. You know, we got offensive line to fill. We have 2 corners on the roster. That's it. We got Holton Hill and Mike Hughes.
three.
Who's the third?
Chris Boyd, he
Oh,
started in that Bears game. Yeah, he actually,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, the last game of the season where we had second and third stringers playing the entire
yeah.
game against Chicago. I was at that game and it
Oh,
was,
were you?
yes, it was pitiful. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't even.
watching Sean Mannion quarterback that team. Oh my God, it was bad. It
Yeah,
was
we gotta
bad.
pray Cousins doesn't get hurt this year because I'm not the biggest Cousins guy, but I don't want to see Mannion running our team.
Well, if that would be the case, if he get hurt, I would hope and pray that they would go out and get someone a little more
Been
capable. 'Cause
I've been
I
saying
have
it for
not.
2 years. Why don't we bring in Colin Kaepernick as a backup?
Uh,
I,
and
I'm
that,
pushing
and
away
then
all
well,
outside
then
factors.
you bring it kind of yeah no, and I understand that, but I feel like once he got his $10 million payday from the NFL for the blackballing or that retirement right there, he wasn't going to play again. It was pretty much null and void. You know, you sign this, you're going to get paid $10 million, but we don't want to see you again.
Well,
You
he's
know,
still allowed to play,
well,
and
he is, but you know, no owner in the NFL is going to give him that chance at this
well,
point.
I don't know if Minnesota in like week 10 is 6-3 and Kirk Cousins goes down, you gotta call him. You have to.
Yeah, no, definitely, because you wouldn't want to waste that season at that point. Because I mean, 3 more wins can get you into a wild card spot,
And
and potentially 4 can get you the division. So you just you don't know.
and
That would be interesting.
and Cap has some amazing playoff game. Like
Oh, 100%.
it,
All I can. He has amazing playoff games, and that he's a Packer killer. All I
yep,
know that
yep.
he absolutely destroyed the Packers in that playoff in Lambeau.
Yeah,
I've
200
never
yards passing, 200 yards rushing. The most
never seen.
insane stat
I've
line I've
never
ever seen.
seen that. I've never seen that. That was ridiculous. He was torching them. It was a sight to see as a Vikings fan, no doubt.
I had a really fucked up idea for this offseason that I knew would never happen, but I wanted to see. And I'm sharing this random theory with you just because you'll love it, I think.
Okay.
But it was when the Patriots knew Brady was leaving,
Okay.
Belichick wanting to do the prove he's the best coach ever. So he trades us like a second round pick for Kirk Cousins. And then we bring back Teddy Bridgewater. That's what I
I
wanted to see. Teddy's my guy, man.
Man, you're speaking to a Teddy Homer. I
Yeah.
love that guy. I don't care if he didn't throw 30 touchdowns or whatever. The guy just knew how to win games, and that's what it comes down to. You don't need all the flashy stuff. If he had the ball in the fourth quarter, I trusted him to get the job done.
And I mean, the last time we saw him in Minnesota was that playoff game at TCF Bank Stadium
Exactly. He was
where he
robbed
put us in a position to win. And Blair
he
Walsh
got
just wide lefted.
he got robbed of a playoff win because of Blair Walsh. Cannot. I don't know. That was
The curse of Minnesota.
That was such a
And
heartbreak. That was such a heartbreak.
there's ever a documentary on the Minnesota Vikings, it's going to be called Wide Left: The History of the Minnesota Vikings.
For sure, and it'll be a detail. It'll be detailed of all of the kicking blunders that we've had throughout the years. 1998, Gary Anderson missed a kick the entire year. Needs one to go to the Super. Nope, we're gonna.
That one's still That one still bugs
I
the
mean,
shit
I
out of
was
me.
only like 5 at the time,
Oh
so
yeah.
I 5, 6, so it's not like my knowledge of football was there, but obviously root for the team that the family did, whatever else. So, but yeah, no, that one hurts. Obviously, 2009 hurts.
That call I still have nightmares about. Fucking Paul Allen's call on that
Oh,
crushes me.
this isn't Detroit. This is the
The
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yeah,
You
that
can
call
make a knee and take a
Yeah.
56-yard field goal. God, that call, man.
That call haunts me too. But yeah, no. But back to the kicking was the Vikings have had their doozies with kickers and whatever else. So yeah, no. But yeah, no. I respect that theory of yours. I mean, it's kind of out there because I feel like, well, because obviously Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause in his contract,
Yeah.
or he did, or I think he
Even if
still
he does, he still might agree to that. Like New England.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like New England, sure.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, go from the Vikings to New England.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I could see that. But yeah, no. Anything Teddy Bridgewater, I love that guy too.
That offseason pissed me off because he signed
What's
for
that?
like $600,000 to play for the Saints that offseason. It's like, why didn't we just give him $600,000? Let him sit on the bench, because Kirk Cousins started off so shit that year. You could have just said, "All right, Teddy, fuck it, get back out there," and he could have done something.
Well, I think you're season off because Teddy was around with Bradford and Keenum.
Right. That was the year he got hurt, and then
Well, the year he got hurt, we had we had Teddy, and then I forget
who the fuck was his name.
I forget the back.
Sean Hill.
There you go. Yep.
Because then we traded for Bradford.
Yep. Because Teddy goes down, then Sean Hill starts week 1, and that was after we traded for Bradford, and then Bradford came out
firing against the Packers. That was
I mean, as much as I trash Sam Bradford, he was a good quarterback.
He was never bad. He just couldn't stay on the field.
No,
he's a good quarterback. He
has 90-year-old knees is what the issue was. He just could not.
His fucking agent deserves an award though. For all the money.
100%. Like the money he kept. Yeah, that goes the same with Kirk Cousins' agent. He deserves.
Well, at least Kirk's not hurt. He just sucks.
He don't suck. He becomes small in a big moment when you need him most.
Well, except for in the Saints game, but I feel like that's more of a fluke than anything. Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know. Our defense played very, very well that game. Very well that game.
He still had to make 2 throws though, and he made them.
He did. And the throw to Thielen was obviously a dime over the shoulder. Can't get much better than that. And then, I mean, when you have a 6'6" tight end, like
when you got the NBA player over there getting guarded by a 5'8" corner, yet you expect him to make that throw.
Exactly. Just throw it up. Hopefully he makes a play, and he did. So I don't know.
I have one other wacky idea for this offseason. Other than Jadeveon Clowney and then the Teddy Bridgewater thing, so there are rumors that we're shopping Anthony Harris because we can't afford to pay him.
Well, I mean, we can for this year right now, but yeah, look, going forward and going forward, maybe not. Going forward, they probably could extend him after this year, but it's more so in this day and age in football, you don't need 2 top 3 safeties at their positions. Like that's more of a luxury than it is a necessity. If you have one really good safety, you can get by with kind of average play from your other guy. When you have 2 guys like Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris, that's just a premium to have. So
I think the Redskins might fall for wanting that premium.
Yeah.
And they have that left tackle. His name's Trent Williams, who doesn't want to play there anymore.
Yo.
I think Anthony Harris for Trent Williams. I know you're gonna have to probably do one team's gonna have to do picks, but or both teams are. I don't fuck. But Trent Williams would be an awesome pickup.
I I do agree with that. Um, for the most part, he obviously is an upgrade at left tackle than what we've had the past.
Since what,
And
2009 when we had Bryant McKinney?
exactly, and even in that year, Brian McKinney wasn't that great. I mean, he
Right.
was. I mean, that honestly, that's probably looking back, that was probably the best offensive line the Vikings have had in years. And even then, that offensive line had glaring holes. I mean, I remember Anthony Herrera at guard. He was
Yep.
a revolving door. I mean, you had Phil Loadholt, great run blocker, but pass blocking, you had someone with speed on the edge. He just could not.
All
keep
we
up
had was
with them.
Hutchison, basically.
Yeah.
That's everybody else was just kind of a. Sometimes they're good, other times they're just not.
Nope. I do agree with that. And while I do like the Trent Williams idea, he's looking to get a massive payday one last time, and because he's trying to earn some of the money that he lost last year from being out.
Right.
And so while you can't fault him for that, he is 32 years old. You know, coming off an injury, injury season. Then he had that tumor or whatever in his on his head that he couldn't wear his helmet or whatever. So you got some obviously red flags with that, but the talent is there for sure. I would definitely like that if the price is right. I would.
I think if we could get him, you could negotiate him to be like, all right, I don't need as much money because this team can win. Even with the revolving door of starters we're gonna have for this season, we still have Dalvin Cook. We still got Kirk. We still got Adam Thielen. Our defense, Everson's big, determined. But can be replaced. Linval can be replaced. Our corners can't get worse. Like, it can't get worse on the outside.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
you are right. It can't get much worse than what was fielded last year because, I mean, Xavier Rhodes was oof.
Yeah.
He was bad.
And getting rid of Anthony Harris in a trade for Trent Williams gives us the room to, in the second or third round, go pick up Antoine Winfield Jr. Which is just something we gotta do. We have to. 100%. I don't care.
Bring him. Yes, bring him to Minnesota like his dad. Antoine Winfield was probably one of my favorite Vikings back then. Well, when he played one of the better corners for sure, tackler. I mean,
he never was the interception guy, but
no, he wasn't. But he'd lock you down, and if you caught it, you were getting tackled right there on the spot.
Yep.
He was not missing you. You weren't getting yards after the catch, so which is huge. So yeah, I would like that, no doubt. I would like Trent Williams 100%. It just comes down to money. If he would be willing to take less or willing to take around what he was making in full last year, 100%, that'd be fine because I'm not a big fan of Riley Reef. But then
you could put Riley Reef at right tackle, which is more natural for him.
They have Brian O'Neill there, so he ain't moving. He was our best offensive lineman last year, hands down, bar none.
Yeah, but I might be flipping, but Brian O'Neill, didn't he play guard for us 2 years ago?
No, he was our rookie last year out of UCLA.
Oh fuck yeah, he was. Round. Okay, yeah.
Yep. He was. He was definitely kind of a surprise for us Vikings fans because I didn't feel like he was going to be that good, and he definitely held his own. Or rookie from 2 years ago, one of the two 2 years ago now, but yeah, he's Yeah,
And
no,
maybe we did force him to play guard because we're dumb.
yeah. Well, that's what I've seen too. Is regardless of if they get Trent Williams or if they target an offensive tackle in the draft, they would potentially look to move Riley Reef down into the right or left guard spot. So,
Which might be
which
better.
well,
'Cause
anything's better than Pat Elflein at left guard. That guy, oh my goodness.
his rookie year at center wasn't terrible, but playing
He
guard, he
was
was
good.
bad.
Yeah, he was a good center for us, no doubt. Which is why I never fully understood why they went out and got Bradbury.
Right.
It would have been smarter to target a guard at that, a true natural guard at that point, because I feel like Elfline did fine. He did good his rookie year, second year kind of up and down, but still, you ask a guy to move like that. I mean, even though he did it in college, it's
Right.
NFL is just a different beast. So, especially
Sure.
when you got that, and that's the whole thing with the left side of the line too. When you can't trust the guy next to you to pick up your blocks, well, then you're kind of worrying about, is the end cutting inside, so I got to help shade over here, or is the D tackle gonna do a move and cut out and to where I have to hit him now? It's tough. So they do need to do something with that left side of the line altogether, whether it's move Reef down to left guard and then either get a rookie or potentially the Trent Williams trade. I've seen a lot of talk about that as well.
Or even, isn't Jason Peters still a free agent?
He is. I'd be all right with maybe just a 1-year deal kind of thing, and and then with a 1-year deal, target maybe a offensive tackle in the middle rounds to start, just to have a project to have there and see what could come of it. But yeah, Jason Peters would be he'd be an upgrade over Reef, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing though. I feel like it's to be determined for the offseason because a lot of it's going to be tied up with the draft with the Vikings.
And that's something it's been since Spielman got there is we're not going to be huge players in free agency. We'll go get a guy or two, like we did with Linval. We've always gotten a guy in the past, but it sucks. We didn't have a lot of cap room this year, which I get because that Kurt contract, but I don't know. I feel like people want to play in Minnesota. We just never go get them.
No, well, and that, that's the thing too. I mean, and I hate when it comes down to the Super Bowl, argument and people are, oh, the Vikings are trash because they haven't won a Super Bowl. Right. Well, when you look down into it, they have I think the 6th best winning percentage all time. Yeah. Just winning percent, obviously not wins because there's been teams around a lot longer.
Right.
This, that, and third. But I mean, just winning percentage as a whole, they are the 6th best in the NFL. So they're not a bad team. You look at the Buccaneers. I think they have like a 34% win percentage, but they have a Super Bowl. Right. Are they a good franchise?
No. Everybody has years. And
exactly.
Technically, we have a couple NFL championships. Those just don't get counted anymore.
Well, yeah, because no, yep. You just get into that rabbit hole, and you, as a Vikings fan, you just don't win that one. No. So it's whatever. But
I also hate it because I always get into arguments. It's like, well, that 1998 team would have won that Super Bowl, and that argument, Broncos fans are like, well, you guys couldn't beat the Falcons and we crushed them. It's like, yeah, but we play very different than the Falcons. Who's covering Randy? I'm sorry, who's covering Randy?
Who's covering Randy? Who's covering Chris Carter? Who's covering Jake Reed? Who's covering, and we had Randall Cunningham at the time who was just throwing bombs left and right, running.
Or like the 2009 team, we would have crushed the Colts. Crushed them.
Oh, hands down. I have no.
That would have
Yeah,
been
no
such
doubt
a
in my
good
mind.
Super Bowl. Brett Favre versus Peyton Manning.
Oh,
Oh, that would have been so classic.
it would have been 100%,
We
100%.
finally could have got AP his ring.
Yeah, no, and yeah, we've wasted. I shouldn't say wasted, but we've had a lot of great
We've
talent there.
wasted
And
great players.
okay,
I love them, but it's
we wasted great talent. Yeah,
AP, Randy Moss. You know, those are just the first two that come into mind. Like, fuck, we had those guys and we couldn't fucking figure it out.
yeah.
Come
No,
on.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's
Because Minnesota can't find the guy at quarterback. That's our only problem. We can get everything else done, but we get a guy like Brett Favre. He was 40. Like, the only time we've ever had that guy was Fran Tarkenton. And
yeah. Well, and as much shit as Cousins gets,
he's
which
still good. He's just not
yeah,
your
no,
Patrick Mahomes, your Brady.
I feel like I feel like a lot of it's unwarranted, especially coming from Vikings fans, because we got to look at our quarterbacks the last 20 years that have
Right.
been quarterbacking the Vikings. Like
We let Christian Ponder run our team for fucking 5 years.
exactly. You got the likes of Christian Ponder, you got the likes of Tavares Jackson, you got the likes of Gus Frerotte, you got the likes of Kelly Holcomb, you got the likes of Brooks Ballinger, you got the likes of all these quarterbacks I can
Joe
list off
Webb.
that are just they're poverty when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, and they were starting quarterbacks for the Vikings. Like,
Joe Webb started a playoff game for the Vikings.
you know what? In that game, you would never see me rooting for Christian Ponder to be healthy more than I did for that playoff game.
I was like, I fucking hate Christian Ponder, but what is this shit? Come on.
Dude, that's 100%. Like I hated Christian Ponder. Like I knew he wasn't the guy, but when it came to that playoff game and he got hurt in week 17 against the Packers, I was like, please, please, please be ready to go next week, because oh my God, Joe Webb will not cut it. And sure enough,
I'm also still pissed we kicked a field goal in that week 17 game.
Yeah.
It's 4th down. Give it to AP one more time. Let him try. Let him get the record. Come on. Give it to him. It's like, well, this is for the playoffs. We have Christian Ponder. We're not winning a Super Bowl.
No.
Our Super Bowl is Peterson getting this record. Give him the goddamn ball.
I feel that 100%. I feel that. I did want them to give him the rock one more time, see if he can do it, because I mean,
This was Detroit, man. This wasn't the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
And you know what? Even if we beat the Packers that game, guess where we get to go? Lambeau to play the Packers. But we're not winning that game. Unless Adrian Peterson just literally picks everybody up and says, all right, let's go. And he couldn't, because his body was fucking worn by that playoff game. He was done.
Yeah. No, he put it off. And and that's the crazy thing too. That was right after his ACL tear. Just comes out and just
6 months. He rehabbed for 6 months. That guy's a machine.
He is, and the fact that he's still doing it, had 1,000-yard season this last year with the Redskins. Like, come on, AP is hands down like one of the best players I have ever seen, and it's tough because I'm a Vikings fan, so you can call me a homer all you want, but my goodness, that guy, he was just a different breed. I mean, at that point, there wasn't running backs coming back from ACL tears in 6 months and then putting up 2,000-yard seasons, and still nobody does that. You tear your ACL, you're slow to come back. You have a down year, and then maybe the next year you're back to your old self. Nope, AP hit the ground running, and it was 2,000 yards.
In my opinion, he's the GOAT. The only guy you can argue is close or better is Barry Sanders. It's those two.
What I would put, me personally, I'd probably put Barry Sanders. I'd put Walter Payton above him.
I can't put Walter above him. I just can't. I don't think Walter did anything better than AP. I don't. You
Well,
also have to
I
look
mean,
at his offensive lines. That's why Emmitt Smith isn't in my top 10 running back. It's because he never
well,
played with anything but the best offensive line in the league. So he can't be in your top 10.
best
Give
offensive line
AP
is
or Barry Sanders that O-line and see what they do.
it just comes down to longevity at that point. That's why I don't consider Jerry Rice the best receiver ever, because he played for 20 some odd years and had the best quarterbacks for a good portion of his career.
Who's your
And
GOAT
so,
at wide receiver?
well, I'm gonna be a homer and say Randy Moss,
Yeah.
hands down.
For sure.
I would say Randy Moss and T.O. better receivers than Jerry Rice.
I go as far to say Chris Carter is too. If you look at stats wise, Chris Carter's number 2, and he never had Joe Montana or Steve Young. His best quarterback he ever had thrown to him was Randall Cunningham. Love me some Randall Cunningham, but he's not Joe Montana. He's not Steve Young. And Chris Carter almost matched Jerry with fucking nobodies throwing him.
Nope. I love me some Chris Carter. He is the
Randy is just a different animal.
Oh, well.
He's Adrian Peterson, bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody.
Yo, while Randy might not have done all the catches that Jerry Rice would have done, or some other receivers, like go over the middle, do them quick slant routes or whatever.
Because why would he?
Yeah, you didn't need to, because he was the big play guy. You throw it up deep, he's
the guy that you just throw it as far as you can, because you can't overthrow him.
No, that was the thing when we had like Dante Culpepper, just because he had such a cannon of the arm, just throw it up there and he's gonna be there.
Imagine Patty Mahomes throwing to prime Randy Moss.
Oh, that would
be fucking insane.
That's a cheat code right there. That is the cheat code,
dude. Because Patty Mahomes can throw it 85 yards. Randy will get there. Just chuck it. It would be so cool.
I agree 100%. 100%, man. That'd be a cheat code in today's NFL. Oh.
But the easiest argument for why Randy's better than Jerry Rice, though, is single season wise, Jerry Rice always had Joe Montana. The 1 year where Randy got his best quarterback, the Brady year, 23 touchdowns and 1,750 yards, he outdid Jerry.
Yep.
And he was older at that point. He was 32, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah,
like,
no, it's debatable. You know, the GOAT conversations are always going to be debatable.
Oh yeah.
Because you got their accomplishments.
And then just personal biases.
Personal biases, and then you can look at just like talent wise, what they brought to the table. And so
for my GOAT arguments, I always go talent. That's why AP wins. That's why Randy Moss wins. That's why LeBron wins. I go by, when I look at them, that's the best person I've ever seen do that thing at what they do. Like,
nope, I agree with that.
Like if you go by accolades, Bill Russell's the greatest basketball player of all time. That's what I say. Well, Jordan has 6 rings. Bill Russell has 12. Fuck off. That's not an argument.
Then you got like Robert Ory that has, I think, like 8 or 10 rings too.
I think it's 7. It's more than Jordan. It's like, is he better than Jordan? Well, no. Then you can't. Rings are not the end all be all.
No,
it's a team sport.
They aren't, but I do feel like they do tie into it.
Well, if LeBron has no rings, he can't be in the argument. But he's got 3. So he can be there.
But see, and that's where I'll argue with you. I feel like Jordan is still the GOAT. But that's the thing. LeBron is something that this league the NBA has never seen.
Oh, we're going to have to bring you back.
A 6'8", 6'9" guy that is 250 pounds of pure muscle and he's
just faster than everybody.
He can put the ball on the court.
That's the most insane part.
Well, now that he's getting older, he can shoot lights out. Like, I shouldn't say lights out, but he's a
35%. He's above average. Like, a guy that big, that fast, and that can do everything else so well shouldn't be able to shoot above average from 3. That's cheating. That's not fair anymore.
No. Not at all. Like I said, I still feel like Jordan's the GOAT in my eyes, but that's the thing, too, is I feel like you don't necessarily appreciate what you see until it's not there. So once LeBron's out of the league and you see that he's not playing and you see the effect that he had on the league, looking back on it, hindsight, I might be like, well, yeah,
I
maybe
think last year,
he is the GOAT.
I think last year a lot of people got that, where he was out for that whole time, for 3 months, and so many people were like, fuck, I miss LeBron. It's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when he's playing, you're just like, that's a fucking cheat code. That's like how I am with KD. I don't love KD, but he's been out for so long that right now it's like, fuck, I miss him. Like,
Yeah, no,
he's just a different animal. Right
he
now, I
is.
just miss sports.
Well, you're speaking. Yeah,
Just give me Jimmer Fredette. I don't care. Just something. Let me see something.
I love me some Jimmer though. That Jimmer range was unreal in the college back in the March Madness. Oh my, that guy was pulling up from the logo before Steph Curry even knew what it was about.
Take me back to the Lynn Sanity days.
Oh God,
That
that
was insane.
It definitely was, just out of nowhere. He just starts
For 3 weeks. He's averaging 45 points. It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
For real. And that's when the Knicks were actually pretty good.
They were kind of exciting.
Yeah.
J.R. Smith, even though I don't love J.R. and he was never, he's never going to be the greatest player on any team, but he was hilarious to watch. Because he's either going to do something super highlight worthy that's amazing, like he has some crazy dunks, or he's just going to like shoot a 3 behind his head just for the meme of it, and it's awesome.
Nope. 100% agree with that.
I think we're going to have to call this one there.
All right.
You've now been a part of the longest episode of this show.
Heck yeah.
We'll have to have you back on for debates again.
Oh, for sure. Have me on anytime. If there's one thing I like more in playing video games, it's talking sports. So
sure.
I'm always down for that.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
You bet, man.